Okay, IFMA Minneapolis, thank you. I really enjoyed it. I threw a fire hydrant of information to you, and I really cut short some of the facility design applications. So I picked up on the cue that Carrie gave me, and I wanted to provide this additional piece that goes into a little more detail on some of the design facility related solutions that we can provide. I really do believe that facility management is the tip of the spear. You're leading the change initiative. You also are what I like to refer to as the corporate chiropractors. You help bring alignment between vision, mission, and the way people work and the culture. Thank you for your time, and let me know. Give me feedback once you get through this. Take care. So here are some areas that you can focus on from a design standpoint to help improve and reduce the stress of people returning to the workplace. The first one is reduce the triggers. Now, this is a process that high-end hospitality companies like the Ritz-Carlton and the Four Seasons use, and it's called client journey. They look at a client's journey from the airport to the parking lot to the check-in, and what you'll find is that there's a combination of reducing the friction of the experience, making everything easy, knowing your preferences ahead of time, to pleasure points such as sunlight, fresh cut flowers, sounds like fountains, nice textures. All of these things help create the sensual feeling of comfort, calm, safe, and joy. So those are important things. So think through design through the different kinds of hormones that you have. Dopamine is that pleasure and enjoyment. Those could be pleasant surprises, unexpected things. It's an anticipation kind of joy. The second is endorphins. Those are the kinds of hormones that come when you're deeply absorbed. So if you are in a quiet space, reading a book, or very absorbed in a deep conversation, it's the second wind, the runner's high. Now, for those who really are people persons, you've got a couple extra hormones to tap into. The serotonin that you have, that is that connection. So spaces that make it comfortable and easy to have connections are very valuable. So having space in the workplace that's easy to have, one-on-one or small group, and when you have what's called a common space, it has to be common. I've worked with companies that had what they call a common space, but it wasn't very big, and it sends a message to everybody that, oh, I'm not sure if I belong in this space, or I'm not sure what the rules are in using it. So remember, part of improving that employee experience is making sure the spaces themselves are clear. They're legible, as Dr. Mike O'Neill calls it. They're intuitive, so that when you come to the space, you know its intent, and make sure it's very intuitive. Now, there's the oxytocin, and the oxytocin is more for that really vulnerably based trust kind of experience. So think about, what are the environments you've been in that have fostered that ability to have that? We basically need to experience those hormones on a daily basis. When it comes to the work areas, what you want there is control. You want agency, the ability to have a choice of what you do and control over it. So that's adjustability is important. But again, too, think through the hormone side of things. If I'm able to focus and do the work the way I'm naturally wired to do the work, then again, I get to release that dopamine. If I really get in that deep work mode, then it's endorphins. So think of areas that give me the ability to tailor and customize, or move to an area that I prefer working, or a different kind of rhythm throughout the day. I think as facility managers, corporate real estate people, designers, we also need to consider that designing the rhythm of work is under our domain as well. So are meetings going to be 60 minutes? Or will we move them back to 45 minutes and then give 15 minutes for recovery time. I think that's an important part for our role to help assist corporations to get a different kind of rhythm in the workplace. There's very few 1-hour meetings that I've participated in that couldn't have been just as effective in 45 minutes if they were well designed. To go along with that, the kind of work we're doing at home also needs to be rethought and redesigned. There's greater cognitive load when you're working from home and working in the virtual environment than you're working with people in this environment. The first thing is the fatigue. There is such a thing as Zoom fatigue, and part of that is the short distance with your eyes. Those muscles get fatigued after 45 minutes to an hour and need to be rested. So that 45-minute break is important. And they need to be rested by being able to see distance. But in the home, your brain is working twice as hard as if it's in a live physical environment. So that means the day can't go as long as you can in physical time. I've shown readouts of my strain level using a couple sports bands doing virtual workshops, and it's crazy to see that I can burn 2,500 calories and the strain level would be the equivalent of 29 miles to do a 4-hour workshop because of all the additional work I'm doing. You know, when you're on camera, there's nothing spontaneous. You cannot read nonverbal cues, and your brain's trying to fill in all of that. So remember, by mid-afternoon, people who do this back-to-back are usually pretty wiped out. So that's another design and what I consider to be a facility question. Everybody should have a sit-to-stand so that in between every meeting, you can move the desk up or down. Now, if they don't have a desk, you can have those desktop kind of adjustment things that allow you to do sit and stand. So now when we look at legible design too, also think of the story behind the space. We need a new narrative to give spaces new meaning and purpose. When you come into a space and it's different, but you don't know the context, why it was designed this way, what it's trying to accomplish, then you're just reacting to your first initial visceral response, and oftentimes it's negative. I remember the story of the Aeron chair when it was first going to be rolled out, and it was covered by a bed sheet in a conference room, and the board was looking at it. Andy McGregor was one of the presenters. And what had happened is that some people peeked under the bed sheet and they began to react to the mesh, and it just didn't look like a regular chair. It almost got canceled because of that initial visual reaction. Once the story was told, then the concept and the image made sense, and then it brought people in. So remember, there's a change management part of this that you're involved with as well. Recovery zones. We need to have more recovery zones. We need to have technology-free zones. We need to have zones that have space for people to spread out, not feel intruded upon, that feel like they can close their eyes easily and have that. One company I know called Four Winds Interactive in Denver, they have a digital interactive screen. When you leave for lunch, what you're able to do is pull up a screen of all the restaurants in the area, and it's got several different walking paths that each have a different amount of distance that's measured. But the restaurants recommended are healthy restaurants. So that's another facility combined with IT opportunity. Another facility combined with IT, and again, Four Winds Interactive is my reference point, is that they've got digital displays throughout the environment, and the landscape displays are for dashboards on the department, but the portrait size, that's the human interest stories. One of the things they do at the top of every hour, the last 5 minutes of every hour, they start displaying pictures of people with their dogs. And so all of a sudden you've got this connection point and connection with other people on, oh, you've got a pug, I've got a pug. And it really helps foster the way they've woven the technology, the environment, the way they orchestrate it through the day really enhances the sense of the community and improves the culture. Don't underestimate the health benefits of a healthy building. The International Well Building Institute has established incredible guidelines on how to deliver positive health benefits to 100% of your employees. We know that even the best health and wellness programs within companies are getting less than 15% participation. 10% of that participation are with people who would do it anyway. So you're missing so many of the individuals, but being able to have healthy air to breathe, got the right CO2 levels, improves the cognition, all the right kind of lighting, all of that affects your hormones, affects your mood, affects your energy, affects your cognitive abilities, affects your digestion. Don't underestimate that may be the single place to have a positive effect on the most people for the lowest cost. So those are just some of the areas in looking at coming back and how do we reduce stress, improve the enjoyment of the space, create areas for people to work in their best way. Because the bottom line is this: people have learned that they can work away from the office and be fine. Many feel like they've improved their life situation, not having the commute, saving money, quality time with the family. And companies are now beginning to ask people to come back, and they're getting a range of reactions, and a lot of it is resistance. There's a strong business reason why we want people to come back. We know that our most creative and innovative work is together. We know that 70 to 90% of communication is nonverbal. We need those. However, we've got to create the conditions and the environment that when people come back, they know they'll be more productive. They know their careers will be enhanced. They know they will have more tools at their disposal. They know that they will be happier and healthier at the end of the day and look forward to coming back again. That's the challenge we face. And I think the corporate real estate community, the facilities management and design all have a tremendous opportunity to be the lead role in creating this new narrative and creating the design that we need. And I hope this gives you some practical tips on how we can improve the experience of people coming back to work. Take care.